Yo, what is going on, guys? Fatal here with a special Gears of War 4 video for you guys today. So a lot of people are asking how exactly the drop shot works in Gears of War 4. I've been lucky enough to play the beta since the 16th of this month. I did get early access for being a YouTube content producer, so big thanks to who sent me that code. You know who you are if you're watching this video. But let's get into the video, guys. So the drop shot. We're going to cover the basics of using it and a little bit of tips and tricks as well on top of that. So the first thing we're going to cover is how to launch the drop shot. When you pick up the drop shot, the first thing you're going to want to do when you see an enemy, whether they are close or far away from you, is level out your drop shot and how you're going to aim it. You can typically aim your drop shot directly in front of you and it'll go the direction you need it to. However, you can also control the height and the angle at which the drop shot goes. This will be pretty important to keep in mind, considering on some maps you may be at a higher level than your enemies, while on other maps you will be at a lower level. Of course, depending on where you are on the map. So the first and most important key to using the drop shot is firing it properly. When you have the drop shot, and whether you have aimed at the destination you would like it to go or if you've blind fired it, the most important thing to keep in mind is to hold down the right trigger until the drop shot reaches the destination you would like it to drop at. Once it's done so, you briefly let go of the right trigger, followed by tapping it yet again, and this will cause the drop shot to impale into the ground and explode. Of course, if you somehow manage to drop it directly on your enemy, it will impale your enemy with a headshot and blow up their corpse, and more than likely any of that corpse's friends if they tend to be hanging around. Aside from actually knowing how to fire the drop shot, there isn't much else to it. There are a few things you do want to keep in mind, however. Your drop shot needs a clear line of fire, meaning it cannot hit any objects or any enemy players until you signal for it to drop. If you somehow manage to hit an object or an enemy player before you signal for it to drop, your drop shot will not work properly and will more than likely bounce around to a random area and explode on its own. Really briefly, I would also like to cover a active drop shot versus a non-active drop shot. With a drop shot that has not been reloaded with an active reload, it will go directly straight for the most part with some slight elevation, even if you're aiming directly in front of you. However, if you do have a drop shot with an active reload, upon firing, your drop shot will elevate immediately on its own, as well as traveling at a much faster speed, giving your enemies less time to react. And of course, having the nice benefit of having a more powerful blast radius. Not necessarily larger from the looks of it, but actives are obviously more powerful than non-actives. And another very important thing to keep in mind, all three bullets can be active, guys. All you have to do is pull off the initial active reload, which you can now do without having to fire a single bullet. All you do is simply tap the right bumper and it will reload automatically. And as long as you hit the small tick, your shot will be active. And again, just keep in mind, guys, that depending on where you are on the map, if you're on a higher level or a lower level, you're going to have to adjust the range or level where you're shooting your drop shot, since if you have an active or a non-active, it will be different. Non-actives typically go more straight, so you may need to elevate your right thumbstick just a little bit, or you might not have to adjust the elevation at all because you may have an active and it does elevate itself and travel up after coming directly out of the drop shot like I just mentioned. So the last thing I do want to mention to you guys is blind firing with the drop shot. Blind firing typically is not used with the drop shot since aiming is so much more effective. However, you will run into certain circumstances where you need to blind fire it. These are typically when you're being pushed by enemies and you don't have time to aim, and even then it's not guaranteed you will get the kill, but it does help to know that you can simply hit RT, use it the same exact way by holding down RT until it gets to where you need it to be, and dropping it, and you can potentially save yourself. So that is it, guys. I do hope you enjoyed this little drop shot tutorial. If you guys have any other questions, make sure to ask me down in the comments below and I will do my best to answer you. Thank you guys for checking out this video. Make sure you drop a like on it. It helps a ton. Subscribe if you haven't already for tons of more Gears of War 4 videos, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.